maybe some of you have read the article that I wrote on 80 level, maybe not. So a little this might be a little bit of a review, but you know, I think in any real world environment that you look at, you take a look at essentially all the various objects in the room. All the nouns you see. I see books. I see a statue here. I see a globe here. Shelves. Think about all the verbs that you could perform on them. You could pick up a book and read it. You could tear all the pages out. You could kick the statue over. You could pick the globe. You could spin the globe. You could pick it up and drop kick it across the room. Things like that. In the real world, we just have so many verbs at our disposal. It's almost too much. And in fact, a lot of times we're limited more by social mores than by not having the verbs. So I wouldn't kick the globe across the room because that's just kind of breaking the rules. But when we look at in a game, all the verbs are explicitly defined. The nouns that actions can be performed on are set. So this is still from Uncharted 4, and if this was real world, there's so many things that you could actually do with this scene. You could go and pick the leaves off of here. You could go drink the water if you were so inclined. You could, I don't know, you could climb each one of these maybe. If you were able to do that, you could grab this guy's foot off. But you can't do any of those things in game, in Uncharted 4. What you can do is what we've defined, essentially. You can explore around the space, you can walk through, you can wade through here, you can maneuver through these gaps. And we've got this like pillar over here that you can actually climb these edges and get up here and then jump onto the tops of these and use them as balance beams. So, but that language is something that you sort of have to learn. You have to understand what the shapes are telling you as the player that you can do with them. And this is what we call affordances. So affordances, something that was defined by James J. Gibson in his Ecological Approach to Visual Perception book, which I believe came out in 1979. So as he said, the affordances of the environment are what it offers the animal, what it provides or furnishes for either good or ill. So essentially that the shape of an object, or whatever it is about the object, the characteristics about an object offer to the player the actions. So let's take a look at these four handles, I guess, or these four objects that you can put your hands on. So all of these objects here are attached to doors, and they're meant to be interacted with the hand, by the hand. But each one of them sort of speaks to us about their individual affordances. So as we know, this is a handle. By turning it, you unlatch it, and then you can pull on it. So this has the affordance of turning, unlatching, and pulling. This, on the other hand, is a knocker, and you don't turn it to unlock the door. You pull it back and let it go in order to make a noise, and someone comes to the door. Here's kind of another version of the latch, where you can turn this to unlatch here. And then these aren't able to unlock or change any sort of latch, but you can pull on these in order to pull on the door. So each of these sort of speak to what they afford us. Here's a door. What does it afford us? So here we've got a handle. We can pull on it. There's a lock here that affords unlocking, assuming you have the key. We've got the hinges that show that this door affords opening outwards and not inwards. And then there's a hole here that affords looking through. Here's two different types of doors that have very different affordances. So neither one of these have a handle. So I believe, or that might be a handle. Okay, I think that's a kick plate, or a plate that keeps you from pushing the door inwards, if I'm not mistaken. So this is something that essentially tells you that you cannot use it. This door opens outwards, as you can see with the hinges. This door does not open inward out; it opens up. So, and the controls for it are on the inside of it. So, affordance is something that you have to specifically plan for, especially when you're talking about systems design. When we designed Uncharted 4, for instance, and we were looking at sort of crates that we wanted to sort of like move around. This is sort of concept art where we showed, okay, we've got handles here. The handles tell the player that this is something that Nathan Drake can grab onto. It affords pushing and pulling. On this side is a different type of signal to the player, which is basically it's a metal ring with a rope on it that over time, as the player learns this language of like ropes on things, it speaks to the fact that you can throw a grappling hook onto it. So this is a case right here where this is what's called a piton surface in Uncharted 4. So using these pitons, these climbing things right here, or at least you get one of them in the whole game. But essentially, anytime you see a wall here that has this pocked surface, you learn that the player can stab that wall in it with a climbing piton in order to climb further up the wall. But this brings up another point in that it implies that